Hello everybody, and welcome to our field trip. Today we are going to kind of explore things that are in and around the pond. So on our adventure today, you might see my kids, Malachi and Emerson. They're helping me out with a couple things. So we're gonna find out what might be in and around the pond.
We are digging in the garden, but we found a lot of worms.
So the first part in going fishing is finding worms. Emmy, my awesome helper, has been helping me dig for worms, and these are some of the ones we found. Worms are awesome. They are a totally cool creature. They look way different than we do. Humans, we're a creature too, but these worms, they don't have arms or legs, and their body is just one long section. Let's see if we can get any. There we go. You can see how they kind of have all these little lines on them that go around their body. They can stretch out and move. It's kind of getting a little bit more comfortable on my hand and starting to move around a little bit. So worms are really important. They help break up the soil. So if you ever dig in the dirt, you might see these little circles, these little pockets, and those are worm tunnels. So the worms just eat their way through the dirt. They eat it in and they poop it out, and that's what helps make good dirt. They'll eat leaves and all sorts of different junk that's in the dirt, in the soil, and then whatever they poop out helps make really good soil. So worms are awesome for that. The other thing that they're awesome for is bait when we go fishing. So that's what we are going to use them for today. Emmy's got a bunch of worms in her hand too. We are getting ready to fish here. These fishing poles are a little bit shorter than the fishing poles we use out at the park. The reason is I'm fishing with a 2- and 4-year-old today, and they are not as tall as you guys are. So they need a shorter rod to use. That way they don't hurt themselves or me. But you'll notice on the fishing pole here, the setup is pretty similar. This is the button that you push, and when you let go, then line can go out. So this is an important button that we use when we cast. And then we also have the spinner, the part that reels the line back in. So 2 important parts on the reel here. And then as we go down the rod, the long part, we see kind of what's on the end here. So this is our bobber. That's a really important part. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then we go down the line. We have the sinkers here, the weight. We have 2 on here just because it helps cast out. It's a windy day. It helps us with that a little bit. You wouldn't have to have 2 on. And then at the bottom is our hook that has our worm on it, and that is what the fish are going after. So we have the bobber, we have the sinkers or the weights, and the hook with the worm on it. And that is our setup today. So part of fishing with a bobber is being patient. So you wait for your bobber to move. And when it starts getting a nibble on it, because the fish is nibbling on the worm, it'll just start kind of moving around. But it's just kind of messing with you right now. You don't want to do anything. You just reel your line tight. And then when a fish is really hungry, it'll take that bobber all the way under the water, like that. And your bobber will be way under the water. That's when it's time to reel it in, because that means that fish has got a really good grip on it. So Emmy is reeling in. What do you got, Emmy?
A fish.
Very good. Keep reeling it in. Keep reeling it in. Is it a big one? There's the bobber out in the water. Keep reeling it in, Emmy.
You can just barely see the bobble. But I got a fish. It's kind of
Okay, let's see what she's got. So we take the line all the way down to the water here. And, oh yeah, she's got a big fish. What kind is it, Emmy?
A bluegill.
This is a bluegill. You see how it gets its name. It has a little bit of blue right on the edge of its gill there. Another kind of cool thing about fish is that they don't have an eyelid like we do. So their eyes are always open. If you were to touch this fish, it'd feel nice and slimy. Fish have slime on the outside of their bodies to kind of protect them from anything else that's touching them. So when I touch fish, I try and have my hand a little bit wet. Now, if I hold the bluegill like this, and right like when we first caught it, it had all of its kind of fins here sticking up. And if I would touch these the wrong way, ouch, that would hurt my finger really bad. So you want to make sure that you kind of brush those gills down when you hold them so you don't get poked. So what type of fish is this? This is a bluegill, exactly. We're going to get him back into the water so it can get its oxygen from the water. We get our oxygen from the air, but fish get their oxygen from the water. So we're going to put him back in, let him swim away. There he goes. Very good.
I got a big one. What the? Oh, it was a big one.
The bass is a bigger fish than the bluegill, and actually bass about this size, when we were reeling the bluegill in, this fish was trying to eat that bluegill. So you can see how wide their mouth is. They're a predator, so they like to eat other fish. This one I think is possibly a pregnant female. You can see the belly on her. I can relate to feeling kind of big and having a big belly. So I'm gonna get her back to the water as quick as I can. But this is a really nice largemouth bass that we caught out of the pond too. Very good. And off it goes. Perfect. All right, so out on our hike around the pond, we found this old turtle shell. And some people think if you find a turtle shell, that means that the turtle left its shell and it went and found another one. Well, unfortunately, that's not true, because if you look inside a turtle shell, it's kind of hard to see, but way down in here is actually the backbone of a turtle. And so if you reach around to the middle of your back, behind you, you're gonna feel this bumpy spot back there. That's your backbone. This is a turtle's backbone. So can we just walk out of our backbone? No way. A turtle can't walk out of its backbone or its shell either. So this is a turtle that, unfortunately, it died, but we found its shell right near a pond. So pretty cool evidence of a turtle. Another cool thing that we found near the pond is this tiny, tiny baby painted turtle. So when I flip it over, you can see the colorful belly of the turtle, and it also has some really nice coloring around the edge here, so you can see that too. So I'm gonna flip him back over because he doesn't like being upside down. This turtle, you can see how big it is compared to my thumb. This turtle is probably only a couple days old. When we first found him a couple days ago, it actually had this little white spot on its mouth, on the top of its mouth, and that it uses to peck through its shell. They are laid in eggs on shore. It has to peck through that shell, and then once it gets through the shell, it's hatched, it's got to climb to water. We actually found it on its way to water, and we wanted to kind of save it and do this video to show you guys. So this is our baby painted turtle that we found, and now it's time for us to let it go back into a pond so it can be living free and in the wild, just like the wildcats say. So there's our baby painted turtle, and it's kind of wading through the moss to find its way out into the pond.
Living in the wild.
Free and living free and in the wild, that's right. Just like the wildcats say.
Where did it go? Right there.
It's right there.
Bye-bye, turtle. Is a fish going to eat them?
We hope not. And now a bass or maybe crappie or walleye. Probably not a bluegill, but some of the bigger fish, they might like to eat it. But that's why he's got that nice hard shell that he's using as protection. Pretty good camouflage. along the edge of the pond, we found this nest here. And when the bird left, they actually took and covered up some of the eggs. So it's a little bit tricky to see. But as we get in, we're trying to stay far enough back that our scent is not going to be left with the eggs. If we leave too much scent, then a predator might come and smell us and therefore find this bird's nest. But you can see, your question that you need to answer is what type of bird made this nest? And one hint is these are really pretty big eggs. They're probably 2.5 to 3 inches. They look brown and they're kind of spotted. So you need to figure out what made this nest. Emmy has caught 2 different things. Emmy, what do you have in your tank here?
Frog and a tadpole.
Yeah, a frog and a tadpole. So we're gonna set these down so maybe they're a little more stable here. You can see the leopard frog. It has these nice cool spots just like a leopard has on. And it's just kind of hovering in the water. That's what they like to do. They like to have just their eyes above the water so they can see what's going on, but the rest of their body is in it. You can see they have these cool webbed feet that help them to swim. And the cool thing about a leopard frog, is that they're an amphibian. So an amphibian means 2 lives. Can you say 2 lives?
2 lives!
Yeah. So they start their life in the water and then they end it on land. And so what that looks like is they start as eggs that kind of feel like maybe jelly a little bit. Little tiny eggs that are in the water. And from the egg hatches a tadpole, just like the one that is swimming away from us right here. A tadpole just like this. Starts really small and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that is kind of like our life cycle tadpole that we have right here. This is just a plastic pretend one. And so this is what the tadpole looks like. And then after that, our tadpole actually grows just the back legs. So it would look a little bit more like this. These 2 front legs would be gone still. So it grows back legs, still has the tail. Then it grows these front legs. So it's like a half frog, half tadpole. And then eventually that tail shrinks up just like this one here. And it starts looking more and more like a frog. The tail eventually shrinks all the way or reabsorbs, kind of soaks back into the body of the frog. And the frog starts breathing its oxygen through the air like we do, instead of its oxygen through the water like the tadpole. Here we have a really cool creature that was brought to us by Peyton Sidoris in 2nd grade. Her and her dad found this late in the fall, and so they felt like they needed to bring it in order to keep it safe, keep it alive through the winter. And so they never intended on keeping it very long. They just wanted to keep it alive so we could release it this spring. So now that it's warm, they gave it to us so we can do just that. So this is, kind of looks like a lizard, but it's not a lizard. This is a smallmouth salamander. And if you look on its front feet here, it's got 4 toes. And then if you look on its back feet, it has 5. Let's see if I can get it good. So this salamander, oops, I am wetting my hands down very well. So, because it needs moist skin. It's not like a lizard. A lizard is a reptile. A lizard has scaly skin. This is an amphibian, like a frog is an amphibian. So it has skin a lot like a frog. It's kind of slimy and it needs to stay wet. These guys are excellent diggers. So that's what he was kind of trying to do on my hand, was kind of trying to dig down and hide. They like to hide. They're excellent at hide and seek. So this is actually a really common creature here in southern Iowa, but we don't see them hardly ever because they're so secretive. They're so good at hide and seek. They like to be in nice, wet soil, so kind of on the edges of creeks, rivers, ponds, wetlands, anywhere where there's really nice wet soil that they can dig down into there. So this is really just a cool creature and an awesome find. So thanks, Peyton, for sharing this with us. Woo! What an adventure. There is always so much cool stuff to see when you're exploring in and around ponds. Fishing, finding turtles, frogs, tadpoles, salamanders, goose nests. Oh, so much cool stuff. So always take the time to walk around a pond and explore and see what's there, because wildlife is just drawn to it. So cool. Thanks for exploring with us.